Hello and welcome to Enchantment of Eternity's review for House of the Dragon Season 2 Episode 2, Rhaenyra the Cruel. This video is a part of a series of videos where I review episodes of House of the Dragon, so I have to start with the spoiler warning for House of the Dragon up to Season 2 Episode 2. If you have not seen up to this point, you will not want to watch this video, otherwise some things will be spoiled for you. So this episode was a little bit slow at times, and there were a couple of scenes that were just setting the stage, and a couple of scenes that I think, well, maybe weren't all that necessary, but for the majority of the episode, it was a powerhouse. We got some of the best acting that I've ever seen ever in this episode, some electrifying and powerful scenes. So anyone who was uncertain about House of the Dragon Season 1 or thought, oh, I don't know if this show stacks up to Game of Thrones, after watching this episode, their mind absolutely should be changed, otherwise they're just closed-minded, because this was top quality television. Anyway, so the episode begins with the aftermath of Blood and Cheese after we see the death of the young prince, and it was just as powerful and intense and harrowing as it deserved to be. You get to see Aegon with his sword destroying Viserys' model. Of course, we knew that model would not survive. Poor Viserys, even in death, he gets that model he loved so much. But it was a really great scene because it showed the agony and just the pure, intense hatred that was very justifiable reaction to the beheading of his 4-year-old son, and how crazy that made him, saying, "I declare war." And then you see the whole castle, of course, is really intense to rounding everyone up. And then we get the small council meeting where when Otto is saying, oh, we should make the best of it, and Aegon just shoots him a look, or Alicent shoots him a look, he's like, that's a fucked up thing to say, but that's Otto for you, always scheming, always trying to take advantage of everything. So he spends it, so let's do a funeral, and we'll have parade Alicent and Helaena around, even though Helaena clearly doesn't want to go. Alicent doesn't even want to go either, but they have to, and it was so heartbreaking, especially seeing how difficult it was for Helaena and how she didn't want to be there, how she was having a panic attack, super intense. But they were doing it all to drive propaganda, which is kind of a fucked up thing for Otto to do, but he's always, moving the chess pieces, and they had that guy shouting out, Rhaenyra the Cruel, making it clear that her position was damaged. And we go over to Dragonstone, and we see that is in fact the case. Her position is damaged, how some houses, all these houses have been told about what she did, and she wants to clear up the area and make it clear it wasn't her, but someone in her own ranks is doubting and said, oh, maybe in your haste, your grace. And people are like, I think it was Rhaenys who's like, mind your place or whatever, because but it just goes to show just how damaged her position is. And then we get one of my favorite scenes in the episode, or probably the show, where Rhaenyra confronts Daemon, and because she saw the look on Daemon's face, she knew something was up. She's like, Daemon, did you fucking do this? He's like, no, I told them to kill Aemond. I didn't tell them to kill the boy. And she doesn't believe him, and and they have this really intense argument, and again, some of the best acting, they get into the fact that Daemon still resents her a little bit. I mean, he loves her and he supports her, but at the same time, he still resents her for taking the throne that he thought was his. And he said, oh, your father didn't make you the heir because he thought you were great and graceful or whatever. He just did it to spite me, which I don't think is actually true. That first part was actually true. He didn't do it because he thought Rhaenyra would be a great leader. He did it out of guilt for the death of Rhaenyra's mother, but that's something different. But yeah, that scene was so intense, and Daemon flat out denies that he was responsible for the young boy's death and saying it was a mistake. But last episode, when Blood asked Daemon, what should we do if we can't find Aemond, and they just cut the scene, and I think Ryan Condal in an interview even said that is implying that Daemon said something along the lines, well, you gotta kill some boy or some son, but yeah, probably just maybe said the phrase son for a son. So I think Daemon's lying to Rhaenyra, and so she says she absolutely can't trust him, and so he fucks off. Everyone thinks to Harrenhal to conquer it. Well, he's been talking about going there for a while, but let's see where it goes. Anyway, after this, we get another really great scene that I love with Jace and Bella. It's a short scene, it's a very simple scene, but I think we don't get that much of these characters, and I love seeing more, particularly Bella. We see her reaction to shooting arrows, being pissed off at her father for just ignoring her, and talking to Jace about his fathers, the father that raised him and the father that fathered him, his biological father, and both of them. And I like how they're candid about that. They never try to lie about being strong or whatever. But yeah, but I just thought that was a nice moment between the two, because we know they're betrothed, but we don't really get that much. So I hope we get more of this. I think it was a really nice scene. Another really nice scene, actually, is to see Aemond's hanging out in the brothel with the whore, and we see him being his true self, where he admits this is something he would never admit to any of his family or any of the people in the royal procession, that he actually didn't mean to kill Jace, and he regrets, Jace is alive. He didn't mean to kill Luke, and he regrets it. I thought that was a nice little addition. So we also get Rhaenyra and Mysaria, if that's how you say your name, and the White Worm, and we get some nice scenes between them, because it shows the two of them sort of becoming an agreement. At first, Rhaenyra is very untrustworthy of Mysaria, and Mysaria doesn't think much of Rhaenyra at all. But eventually, Rhaenyra realizes that, look, if my house did promise you freedom, then I will honor that. And she was giving her passage to a place, and we see that kind of pays off later in the episode. So another one of my absolute favorite scenes is the confrontation between Otto and Aegon, which was fucking amazing. It was such a good scene, because Aegon has all the rat catchers killed. In the books, they brought in 100 cats. Maybe they're going to do that in another episode. They bloody well better. I want to see 100 goddamn cats in the Red Keep. But anyway, so he killed all the rat catchers, which was a dumb move, and Otto was like pissed off and yelling at him. And then Aegon tells him that Kristen Cole's plan to send Auric over to pose as Eric in order to kill Rhaenyra, and he calls it a prank, which actually was very close to succeeding, so maybe Otto's not totally right here. But he's not impressed with them. He thinks they're being too hard-headed and everything. But the when the straw that broke the camel's back is when Otto flat out says to Aegon, "You think your father actually wanted you to be king?" And that, such a powerful moment. And Aegon knew it. Aegon knew he was right, because Alicent deluding herself that, he said on his deathbed that he wanted Aegon to be king, but Otto knows better, and he's making that clear, because Aegon doubted that for a second. I mean, for the first time that Alicent mentioned it, he didn't ever believe it, and so when Otto hits it home, that is the last straw for him. So he dehands Otto, kicks him out, and puts Kristen Cole as the hand of the king. We see that Kristen Cole is nowhere near as good of a schemer or seeing the big picture as Otto, so this is probably not a good move. But Aegon, again, is not a very experienced king. So the crowning achievement of this episode that was such an intense, such a great, amazing scene is Eric versus Auric, the two twin brothers fighting each other. This was in the book, so I knew it was coming, but the way it was portrayed here on screen was so much better. Mind you, the books is just a history book, and it was also, the books had different accounts, like it's 3 different people telling different versions, so no one knew the exact version. Some people said that the twins died in each other's arms, but other people said that they died cursing each other. And I love how they went the route of actually saying "I love you, brother," and saying it was added so much tragedy. And plus, they had Rhaenyra in the room and had Auric very close to killing Rhaenyra, which I believe was not in the books, and that made this whole fucking thing way more intense. But speaking of, as talked about Mazaria earlier, I think it is implied because she saw Arik walking out the gangway, and she just left Eric in the castle, so she knew. And also, she knows the twins. She's seen them before. She called back to this in the last episode. So she went to her guards and was like, "Hold up!" So we get the impression that they went and informed Eric about it, which is why he showed up just in the nick of time to save Rhaenyra. And so that's probably gonna work in Mazaria's favor. And it's interesting that Mazaria could, if she said before, "I really don't care." If that's true, she just could have fucked off on the boat and left it all behind. But I think she likes Rhaenyra. I think she respected that Rhaenyra was actually being kind to her and wanted to repay the favor. And yeah, but the Arik and Eric fight scene was so damn good, and it was so tragic. And yeah, this is different from the books too, that Eric won the fight but then stabbed himself. I believe that was not in the books. I believe they both stabbed each other in the books. But that, oh my god, so much tragedy, and the actors played it so well. It was so intense. It was such an amazing scene. I actually, if I was going to have one flaw with the episode, I think the episode should have ended with that scene rather than the next scene, which is Kristen Cole and Alicent. Although I did like this, I just don't think it was worthy of an ending scene. But throughout the episode, Kristen Cole was feeling extremely guilty about, literally fucking around while the young prince was getting killed. And Alicent, of course, also extremely guilty and didn't want to have anything to do with Kristen Cole. And then we get the scene where they're back at it again. After she starts slapping him and hitting him, it's obvious to me that, yeah, they're going to start making out, which is happening. So it does show how fucked up this relationship is and how fucked up Alicent is. But yeah, amazing. So my rating for Rhaenyra the Cruel out of 10 is going to be a 9 excellent. And I almost gave it a 10, but it was a bit slow in some places, so it wasn't a perfect episode. Like the scene with Rhaenys and Corlys in bed, I don't know how necessary that scene was, but God, it was. We had such great scenes. Like the whole confrontation between Daemon and Rhaenyra was amazing. The confrontation between Otto and Aegon was absolutely fabulous. The acting was so good. But the Eric and Arik scene, crowning achievement, much better than I thought it would be. Absolutely amazing. 9 out of 10. So that is it for my review of House of the Dragon Season 2, Episode 3. Be sure to check out my live discussion. Did I say Episode 3? It was Episode 2. I'm jumping the gun. But be sure to check out my live discussion of this episode Monday night, 9 p.m. East Coast time, 6 p.m. West Coast time. The link for that will be in the description below. So check us out as I discuss and break down this episode with my sister Alyssa, and be sure to check out my channel as I continue to cover House of the Dragon, also do many Star Trek episodes, so be sure to subscribe so you can keep up with all of that, and thanks a lot for watching.